Hello, welcome to your first lecture for Module 1 for your advanced course. In this lecture, I am going to briefly discuss the vocabulary found in Unit 1 in the book of Living Languages, and I'm going to focus on pronunciation and how to identify word stress. Before you view this lecture, please take a minute to review the vocabulary in Word Builders 1 and 2 on pages 14 and 18. Make sure that you look through each word and you understand all the words, and for any new words, you look up the definitions before you view this lecture. So what we will look at is Word Builder 1, which focuses on career and education vocabulary. Let's look at Set 1. What I would like you to do right now is just listen to how I pronounce each word. Culinary school, film school, law school, medical school, internship, postgraduate degree, professional training. Okay, for Set 2, again, listen to how I pronounce the word. Undergraduate, graduate student, intern, full-time employee, part-time employee, freelancer, entrepreneur. And again for Set 3. Public relations, journalism, political science, computer science, business administration and management, psychology, biology, elementary education, nursing. One thing that's very important when we're learning how to pronounce a word is word stress. A lot of students don't realize that this is something that is integral to learning how to pronounce a word correctly. Not only do you need to know how to pronounce all parts of the word, but you need to be able to identify where the word stress is on each word. So in this lecture, I'm going to focus on how to identify word stress. The first thing that you need to do is note how many syllables a word has. One of these syllables will always be the stressed syllable. Stressed syllable means that it's pronounced longer and louder than the other syllables in the word. In other words, this syllable is emphasized over the other syllables. And then I would like you to get into the habit of marking the stressed syllable. One good habit of good students is to keep a vocabulary dictionary. You can either do this in a separate file in a notebook, or you can just mark the stress and keep your definitions in the Living Languages book that you have. In your vocabulary book or your dictionary, your notebook, whatever you want to create, you should always note the definition if you don't know it, and you should mark the stress. Then as you practice the words, you know where the word stress is and how to pronounce it correctly. Okay, so let's look at Set 1. Here we have 3 words from Set 1. Let's look at the word stress for each of these words. So the first one, culinary school. This word has 3 syllables, culinary. The stress is on the first syllable, culinary. And you can see that I marked the stress in bold. In your notebook or for your notes, you can underline it, you can circle it, you can add an accent, you can do whatever you want that you need to do in order to identify that that is the stressed syllable. Listen to how I pronounce that word. See if you can hear the stress. Culinary school. Now I didn't say culinary school, and I also didn't say culinary school, culinary school. Those are words those are ways of saying the word which has the stress on the wrong syllable. So the correct way to pronounce it is having the mark on the first syllable. Culinary school. Okay, so we have the same thing for the next example, medical school. Medical has 3 syllables. The stress is on the first syllable. And I mark the stress, medical school. Okay, for the next word, internship. This word also has 3 syllables. The stress is on the first syllable, and I mark the stress, internship. Let's look at sets 1, 2, and 3 again. Look at how I have marked the stress in all of these words. Culinary school, medical school, internship, postgraduate degree, professional training. For set 2, undergraduate, graduate student, intern, full-time employee, part-time employee, freelancer, entrepreneur. And for set 3, public relations, journalism, political science, computer science, business administration and management, psychology, biology, elementary education, nursing. Now you may be wondering, how do you know what the word stress is if you don't have your teacher right in front of you? Well, I usually tell students that there are 2 ways to do it. The first and most reliable way is to use a dictionary. So let's look at the dictionary example of entrepreneur. You can see that I have highlighted the last syllable as the syllable that is marked with word stress. If you look the word up in a dictionary, you may find that it's written like this on the 3rd line. And if you can see the little red line marked in the very last example, this little red line indicates which syllable is stressed. So the syllable after the red line is the stressed syllable, entrepreneur. So you can always go to an English dictionary, dictionary.com, or any other website in English, and you can look up the word stress for each word. Another thing that I'd like you to do is to practice your listening skills. In the book provided with Living Languages, it comes with an audio, and you will also find most times the audio for the vocabulary embedded in the lecture as well. One thing you can do is listen to each word and listen to how the speaker pronounces each word and which word is stressed. Again, you will hear that it is a little bit longer and a little bit louder. I usually do this in my face-to-face classes with my students, and while it takes a little bit of practice, they usually catch on pretty quickly. And this is a great activity for developing your listening skills in English. Okay, so to wrap up, I would like you to, every time that you learn a new word, make sure that you mark the stress on the word. And if you don't know how, you can look up in a dictionary, or you can listen to how a native speaker pronounces it and mark the stress from there.